What you are about to watch is a video file that was taken from the databanks of a crashed Type 40 TARDIS before it was uploaded to the Matrix. Any imperfections within this recording are the result of the damage taken by the TARDIS. From what we can decipher, this is a report regarding the return of what is known only as a showrunner called Russell T Davies, RTD for short. The impact they have had on the general populace of a planet called Earth, and what his return could mean for the future. Warning: the information that is contained within this live recording is of the highest importance. If you do get value from this, we advise that you boop the like button and share with others. With that said, let us begin.
So, the big news, which happened, I believe it was yesterday, maybe the day before. I've been to sleep since then. Russell T Davies, the previous showrunner of Doctor Who, is back. Everyone at the moment, now that the shock, not horror, but shock of it has actually passed and subsided now, has got mixed opinions on it. But I'll let you know what I thought. When I literally first saw the first article, the first review, or whatever that come on, and it just said Russell T Davies is back, I had to pinch myself. I mean, I just could not believe it. I was in complete and utter disbelief. So I researched the BBC and various other things and various channels that I follow on Twitter and various other things, and yeah, it's true. And I'm not going to lie here. I practically cried. I didn't cry, but I definitely had a tear in my eye because I couldn't believe that the person, after all of this stuff that we've been going through with the... As much as I don't want to put them down too much on a stream that is meant for well-being, after all this stuff that we've had with Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker, and all this feminism and wokeness and agenda and all the rest of it, that we're actually finally getting back the person who, after however many years it was between the movie and between Christopher Eccleston starting the whole thing back up again, after all that time, he made it a complete and utter blockbuster of a series. And yeah, again, to know that he's coming back again, don't get me wrong, there were a few things that come to mind that you kind of hope for the best but prepare yourself for the worst. But all in all, I'm really happy that he's back. Okay, it's going to be another couple of years before we see any of his work, i.e. the 60th special, but I'm actually really optimistic about it, and it's something that I've actually... It's something that... It's been a long time that I've been this optimistic about something, let's put it that way. Because Doctor Who, when he first started it back up, I started in 2005 with Doctor Who when he started it, and it does so much for me as far as my well-being. It gave me something to actually look forward to every week. The messages that was in it wasn't like identity politics or anything like that. It was genuine life lessons that, like, oh my god, this is really helping, and it's done a lot for my persona and various other things, which I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, it's something that it's one of the very few franchises I actually loved. I fell in love from day one. Love at first sight. So yeah, when I actually saw the news, I was beside myself. I was teary-eyed. In fact, I sent my wife a message when she was at work, and I said to her, look, can you call me as soon as you can, please? And she, when she actually did, she was like, oh my god, what's going on? Because there's loads of other like stressful in life, which everyone goes through, by the way. But there's loads of going on in my and her life and our marriage and things. And she called me. She says, oh my god, what is going on, Nige? And it says, "Are you sitting down?" It says, "Yeah, what?" "Russell T Davies is back on Doctor Who." And she said to me, "Seriously, is that what you called for? I mean, really? I thought like you were dying or something." And I was like, and she was like, "Thank God that's what you called me about, because I was expecting the worst. It's been a really bad day, and thank God you told me that." Meaning it made her happy. She didn't show it at the time because like she was at work, but I wouldn't have just called her if it was something like, I don't know, David Tennant's going to be in a Christmas special or something. This is huge. So, with that said, you're probably wondering, what exactly does Doctor Who have anything to do with the Wellbeing channel like Salad Cream Boy or SCB? Salad Cream Boy stands for SCB. A lot, as it happens, a hell of a lot. So I don't know if anyone watching this would relate to this or agree with me on this, but when people say Doctor Who isn't get words out, excuse me, for anyone who might tell you that Doctor Who is just a show, it isn't. Doctor Who is not just a show. It's so much more than that. I mean, I'll tell you what it meant for me. So what I mean by it is, I used to use Doctor Who mannerisms from David Tennant and later on Matt Smith. Like, for example, when he says, well, in front of stuff like, I don't know, just as a little bit of comedy relief. I'd use that when I can't think of anything to say. I'd just say, well, and there you go. People are like, what? And anyway, so I'd use that. I'd use his eyebrow. You know, it's been so long, but he had this eyebrow thing going on, and I could do it. And I had like used to do with glasses whenever like looked at something or licked something to see what it was about, and like he used to do, and like his sarcastic comments. And I had the screwdriver. In fact, I do. I've still got from that era. I don't think there's any batteries in it. No, there isn't. But I've got his sonic screwdriver, as you can see from this part. And this is River Songs. Don't know if... No, that's not on either. But it's even got, if you can see here, sorry, it's got the pulley out thing. So when she goes and go into that mainframe of the library, which I think is a bit cool. But that's the thing, in those days you get like loads of bit of memorabilia and stuff and things that actually get, and various other things. In fact, I've got a vortex manipulator, cheap and nasty time travel. Okay, but yeah. And like I got the haircut, not necessarily from David Tennant, but from Matt Smith, like the whole quiff thing. You can't see it on here. Oh, by the way, if anyone else is wondering, the only reason I wear this is because I just physically can't be bothered to do my hair. But I just started wearing it and it become like a brand thing for the channel, which I don't know whether I'll keep doing. Sometimes like nights like this where it's like really, really hot, I might actually take it off sometimes. But anyway. But yeah, had all the screwdrivers, got the costumes and everything. In fact, one of the things that actually helped with my well-being, which I'm stocky now, but it actually kept me in check as far as my weight goes, because David Tennant being really slim, as is Matt Smith, you'd want to actually look good when you go out to cosplay, when I get the pinstripe suits and all that out. Or I've actually got, this is from my Matt Smith uniform, cosplay, costume, that's the fella. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you just bring into your life. And yeah, and other than being married to my lovely wife, by the way, it's one of the very few big things in my life. Bear with me, sorry, there's just a setting that was going haywire on here. Yeah, so sorry about this. Okay, So yeah, other than my wife, it was a huge thing. And speaking of which, Doctor Who played a huge thing in our lives. Like, I've got a feeling that she's going to be coming onto the stream later. And what happened is, if you can see it, tell you what, I'll take this off for a second. There you go. So as you can see on here, it's actually got Salad Cream Boy 2 on there. When she comes on, it will most likely be River, because when I used to do cosplay with her, I was the Doctor and she was River, as in River Song. And it was in our lives a lot. And even when it comes to our wedding, we actually had a TARDIS on the wedding cake. And we also had the sonic screwdrivers in our wedding pictures. And it became so much as part of our lives. And it's one of the things that got us connected right in the start when we met each other. You know, I don't know what my life would be like if I didn't have Doctor Who in my life, because it was one of the big things that I connected to her with. And if I didn't have that, I mean, I'm assuming that I have other things that I can connect to her with, like music at the time and various other things, but that was the big thing. I'm not saying that's the reason why I'm married, but it had a big part of how we gelled together. And if I didn't have Doctor Who, then God knows what would happen. So honestly, part of my marriage, I've got to say, Doctor Who is a part of, and I've got to thank Russell T Davies for that. And if he does end up seeing this video ever in his life, then I've got to say thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, it helped with my confidence as well with people by tenfold, because I started acting like the Doctor, as I said earlier. And it got to the point where I went out on nights out and took my sonic screwdriver with me. And I used to like scan people with my sonic and saying, yeah, you're drunk, you know. And it did a lot for me. And I became the person where people would say, yeah, here's the Doctor Who guy in our group. They knew me for Doctor Who, where to the point that for Christmas or birthday or whatever, people would get me a Doctor Who t-shirt or something, because that is a thing that they knew me for. So I loved it so much. And yeah, as I said earlier, I got all the Sonics. So with that said, if anyone's watching this live, or if you're watching it on the replay or the edited version, if you have a story to tell, or if you want to comment exactly how did Doctor Who have, what kind of effect did Doctor Who have on your life, just let me know and let everyone else know, because it's just nice to know what other people go through. Because I mean, yeah, it's great from my life, but it's just very comforting to know that it's done a lot for other people as well. That there's other people in the same boat, and it just helps to connect people having like similar stories. So there's that. And anything else you want to comment on about how Doctor Who helps your well-being and stuff, just let me know, drop a comment. But yeah, with that said, if you're in the chat and replay again, just let me know what exactly were your thoughts. What was your first thoughts after the dust settled? What do you think now about it? The fact that Russell T Davies is going to be back for the production of the 60th anniversary and maybe further on. As far as I know, it's going to be the 60th and season 14, which is 2023. I don't know if it's going to be any further than that. I don't know if it's going to be the case where he's just bringing the course correction, you know, just to get things back to where they kind of were, and then hand back over to someone else. Who knows, Steve Moffat might even come back. That's as far as I know. But yeah, just let me know in the comments what you think about the current state of affairs of the fact that he's coming back. We've still got 2 more years of Chibnall, by the way. So before the mental well-being stuff that it might help with people's lives, I just want to go through a few other things. I want to go through what exactly Russell T Davies actually brought to Doctor Who. and the kind of stuff that he did. So I'm not saying that Steve Moffat or anyone else didn't do these type of things. It's just that RTD done it so well that it kind of made it an art form where he'd create arcs and he'd actually bring the payoffs. Like for example, there was a whole Prime Minister thing and Howard Saxon. There's a Dr. Donna. And it's like, okay, so if you missed a couple of episodes, fine, then it wouldn't completely destroy the whole thing for you. Well, depending on which episodes that you missed out on, there would be a lot of things that would subtly hint at the finale. Like, for example, in the first season, there was Bad Wolf. In the second season, there was the build-up to Torchwood. The third one, Howard Saxon. And then the fourth, there was a Dr. Donna. And then, obviously, in the specials, it was the 4 Knocks leading up to the regeneration. Him thinking that he'd actually die, but it just regenerated to Matt Smith. And the whole culmination of the 4 series, the 4 series and the special, but the series themselves and the Christmas specials between them, there's so much world building, and with the spin-offs with Torchwood and Sarah Jane Chronicles and everything, there's so much that was just spread out and then come back together, a little bit like Game of Thrones, but a million times better in the end. And everyone, like Captain Jack and Rose and the family and everyone just being there in the same place. And it was a kind of, let me put it this way, they done the Marvel Infinity Gauntlet saga before it was a thing with Marvel. Meaning they had a load of entwined stories, this went in a load of different directions, and they brought it all together in the Stolen Earth and all that in such a beautiful way. And I don't think anyone could actually come close to doing that again. Other than, well, the MCU did it, but not in a TV series like that. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, it was like tearful. In a good way, when everyone is in the TARDIS at the same time. When it came to everyone leaving the Doctor, and yeah, you kind of really felt sorry for the guy, because like literally 5 minutes earlier everyone was there and then everyone's gone again. So yeah, with all this, it actually gave the series, the show, a really good sense of continuity, and it's something that it gives the audience a bit of security knowing that, because when you have just one main character and then he has an assistant and they go on all these various journeys and things, I can see how it'd be really difficult under anyone else that would actually be able to have any continuity, because it's just literally a load of random adventures. But with Doctor Who, under the Russell T Davies era, it was a whole big story. And yeah, if you saw the Stolen Earth with everyone coming through, you would actually have to start from season 1 to get all of it. And when I say season 1, I mean New Who from when it got introduced with Eccleston. You literally had to watch the whole thing to make for everything to make sense. That's how good it was, and that's how complex it was, and it was beautifully complex. And yeah, so, and the main story as well, it actually put setups that was actually paid off for real Doctor Who world consequences in other shows. For example, Doomsday with the Cybermen and Daleks, you actually got stuff like there was this woman who was only half converted by the Cybermen, and made a story about that, and it's shown that okay, when the Doctor goes swanning off after he's sorted everything out, there's stuff that people have to pick up the pieces, and it actually shows real life consequences for stuff that goes on. I mean, like when in the first season with Eccleston, the whole Houses of Parliament freaking blew up, and in the a few episodes later, they've shown that they was trying to put it back together, and then Harriet Jones happened, and when she was deposed by the Doctor, whether realised it or not, he was the reason why Howard Saxon got in, and it all plays and intertwines later. And then Harry Jones comes back later to, save the day and get the people back together, and in the way they communicated to get the TARDIS back. And oh my god, you just don't get that these days. And the point of it is that even though it is complex, it kind of isn't. And it's just something that it gives you some escapism. It's giving you much needed escapism for 45 minutes, or if it's a special, usually about an hour, where you can just literally watch it, and you don't have to watch, and you don't have to think, get words out. You don't have to think about anything else in your life, and it was amazing for that. That's one of the ways that it will help your mental well-being, because when there's so much stress in your life, when the whole world is on your shoulders, to be able to just sit down for about an hour, 45 minutes, whatever, and just not think about anything other than this amazing show on TV, and just get lost in it, get transported to Gallifrey or whatever, that's the real huge power of escapism right there. And Russell T Davies, he freaking understood that. And I take my hat off to him and put it back on again because I hate my hair. So yeah, and your eyes were just glued to the TV as well, because all those little things that you'd see Bad Wolf in the background, or the one with Donna, where you're waiting for every episode for, I don't know, Rose to come on the screen or something, and try and make contact, and like you literally just miss them, And again, in the same series, how amazing was Turn Left? I mean, really, you actually had an episode where the Doctor wasn't in it other than the very start and the very end, where it was just a companion, and it was amazing. First time I watched it, I was like, oh my god, it hasn't got David Tennant in it. Oh my god, I was really pleasantly surprised. It's really, really good to watch. So my point is that it built up a huge world for the audience, and not necessarily in just a way that it had good arcs. I mean, there's a whole universe of aliens, and it wasn't just like a good 20 aliens. It actually brought in a different alien each week and stuff, and it had those core aliens. Like when you think of the space police, you think of the Jadoon. When you think of security on Earth, you think of units. When you think of basic slave race, you think of the Ood. And it's that attention to detail that once you see these different aliens, you know what they're about. The Daleks, they just hate everything. Cybermen, once you hear a certain tune in your head, you know that it's a Cyberman, or whether it's Rose, or the amount of detail that it has in it. So what I'm going to do now, because I've literally just noticed that she's on, I am going to bring my wife Courtney on just so we can have a chat. Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay, by the way? Because I literally haven't had any comments or anything to say that my audio is working.
Yeah, your audio is working just fine. Also, you have my other Sonic, but this is the Sonic I have currently.
Lovely. I also have this on.
I left it!
Thanks, that's just demonetized my channel if I ever get money for this.
Nice. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So I think there's...
Hold on. Let me self-correct here. You B!
It's okay. I can edit it out for the... I can edit it out for when I do it, for when I post it normally, like I am this whole conversation.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So anyway, everyone, this is my wife, River, as in song. Which I just realised I should have put myself down as the Doctor instead of Salad Cream Boy, but hey. Anyway, so just tell everyone what you thought when you first heard the news that Russell T Davies is going to be back.
I literally jumped up and was like, woohoo! because I am so tired of the writing that's going on right now and the current Doctor, which, yes, very controversial opinion. However, um, I became a fan because of the way it was an effortless story, and now it's become more political and climate and all these other things which you're trying to escape from. So, I'm happy to get back to the way it used to be. Obviously, writers change and whatnot, so maybe it'll be slightly different, but I'm hoping it's not humongously different.
So, after your initial reaction, has anything changed in that opinion after reading anything?
So I actually haven't been reading anything because I don't want to spoil it for myself. I find that, for me at least, and other people maybe, but for me, the more I read into upcoming events and things, the more I feel cheating myself because I'm not giving it the opportunity it deserves, which, like I said, with this new writer and the new Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, that is, I was very excited because I've seen her other work. And I was like, oh, she'd be a great Doctor. And then I'm watching it, and maybe it's not her acting, but it's the way they're writing the show that I'm not liking. I haven't been able to decipher which, but it was a struggle for me when I thought it was just going to be a continuation.
So, in your own words, because I tried to explain it and I probably failed miserably earlier, what does Doctor Who, even when we first met, what did it mean to you as far as your mental health or anything?
Honestly, Doctor Who was a way for me to escape. I'm kind of, I don't want to say the black sheep of my family, but didn't feel like I belonged. And I still, honestly, to this day, I don't feel like I completely fit in with my family, but they've accepted my oddities over the years, which is a huge reason why I liked it, because I felt alien in this world, and for the Doctor to technically be an alien and present as they do, it just kind of gave me a sense of normalcy and something that I could be consistent with and feel good about, and even going back all the way to the beginning, once I found out there were so many more episodes, all of it just phenomenal, and it's a great escape from everyday life, honestly. And then once you and I started going out, even just talking online, it was a great, one, topic of conversation, but two, there are so many directions you can go with it. You could talk about one species of alien, you could talk about how people are time jumping and going into all of these different aspects of how, Torchwood, and then on top of that, going into multiverses and things like that, and really creating your own world within that world within the world, if that makes sense. And it was something you and I bonded over very quickly. That and music, honestly, which, I mean, they're both a very big part of our lives still.
Cool. Okay.
Cool. Missing everything you said.
No, it's this live stream. I've done it very impromptu. Usually I'd kind of plan it for a day or so, and right now I don't have any questions or anything. I'm literally just trying to just have a chat about it.
Well, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go on.
What is your top 3 favorite alien species from Doctor Who, and why?
Dalek, Cyberman, Centauran.
Why?
Or, sorry, as Donna put it, Sultarans. So whatever she said. Daleks, because I remember when I actually watched it a few episodes with my grandmother. I actually wasn't a Doctor Who fan back then. I was like a young kid, and they didn't really speak to me too much about what I was watching and stuff. I was very distant, doing my own thing, and I just happened to catch a couple of episodes. And when the Daleks come on, they literally made me hide behind the sofa. I know it's a cliche, but
they were scary when you were younger, though.
Yeah, because there was a freaking pepper pot, and I didn't know what's going to happen. But they were so alien, because you get like aliens that look like humans that are just really scary. These are completely completely alien. I didn't know what to make of it, and I was like glued. I didn't watch any other episodes after that, not until Christopher Eccleston come on. But I remember that's one of the very few episodes that I did see. And then when Eccleston did come on, and I saw the episode, I think it was actually called Dalek. When oh my god, what the hell was it? Oh yeah, Rose. So when she actually touched the Dalek and it like freed it from chains and everything, I was like, oh, okay, they're dead. Yeah. Cybermen, because there is a reason. My mind just gone.
Oh, what happened? Hello? Nigel? Hi.
Hi. I don't know why that happened, but it may happen again. I don't know why it happened.
I think you're just fiddling too much with the screen.
No, I wasn't actually doing anything. Bear with me. I'm actually going to take my other screen off. If it's just going to be the two of us. Bear with me.
Maybe I like timed out or something.
No, it shouldn't do that. Okay, right. Now. That's actually really helped because I can actually take my phone off the stand now.
Honestly, the Cybermen for me are like the freakiest thing right now because you see everyone walking around with the AirPods and the wireless speakers, and all I think every time I see them is, oh god, we're gonna upgrade. We're gonna upgrade.
Yeah. For me, because I was a huge Star Trek fan, more than I was a Doctor Who fan, I thought it was basically the Doctor Who's version of the Borg. And
I could see that.
Because also, I really, really love technology. And when I started seeing people with like the Bluetooth, what the freaking hell do you call them?
Yeah, the AirPods.
Yeah, and then they brought it into Doctor Who. I was like, oh, right, that's just another thing to be scared of. Like everything else they bring into it. Like by now, you pretty much have to be wary of literally everything in your life. Like, I don't know, breathing, for example, just the small things.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, with the Cybermen, yeah, it's just something that I related to with the Borg. Just the fact that I thought it was a really cool way that they introduced it. Yeah, it's just that they're really cool. Centaurans, because how can you not like them?
I mean, you could, but at the same time.
Let's put it this way. The conversation that David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, had with General Stahl when he was a unit, and basically he was telling the General not to, be respectful of them. They're like warrior species and all that. Don't antagonize them. And then when it come on, it says, how very little of you, or that's small of you, that kind of ilk.
Yeah.
And the whole interchange with them is just like hilarious. Really, really, really hilarious. And I started using jokes like that with short people I knew in my life, and they didn't like that.
Hey, you did do it a wee bit too much.
Yeah.
But then
No.
again, can you ever have too much of Doctor Who / dad jokes? Probably not.
Yeah. But if you're going to ask me any specific reason why I liked any one species, like a really in-depth, deep reason, there
Oh,
really
like
isn't.
the tune from the moon?
Yeah, it's just the fact that they're really entertaining, and it, again, like you said earlier, it provides escapism.
Exactly. I mean, on top of that, I do apologize for this. I had to come from work, so unfortunately I missed some of the live stream. But did you
Yeah, you're
already
dead to
talk
me.
about how you... Yes. Anyway, did you already talk about how you got to meet one of the incarnations in person?
Yeah, Colin Baker.
Holy Christmas cakes in July, everybody! And
Yeah,
you got to friggin' talk to him for a while. You caught a good day.
a little bit. Yeah, that was good. The thing is, because I'm more new Who, like Christopher Eccleston onwards, I really like the guy. I've seen a couple of the episodes that he's done, including like when his version of the Doctor dies. But I'm more the new stuff.
Oh, excuse me. I like the... Okay, so if we're going on basis of like favorite doctors, etc.,
Mhm.
David Tennant forever. David Tennant forever. However, there have been so many good incarnations of the Doctor, and he still hasn't been Ginger. What is that about?
Yeah,
I'm
he's
sorry,
been a
he's
freaking
still
woman
Ginger.
before he was a woman before he was freaking Ginger.
I know. It could have been a twofer. It could have been a Ginger woman.
Yeah, I think he might have been Ginger once on a spoof show. Like over here, we have what we call Red Nose Day, Comic Relief. I can't remember all of they had this little joke where literally every few seconds he's been killed off again, and another actor replaced them. Like Rowan Atkinson, who's Blackadder, and I can't remember the others. But like, I mean, Hugh. Oh, what the fudge is his name? Notting Hill. Oh,
Hugh Grant?
yeah. They
Really?
made him the Doctor for all of 5 seconds, and I'm talking half like 5 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just whole thing where it's hilarious. But I think one of the incarnations of the actors they used might have been Ginger. I can't remember. Who knows? They might make the guy who played Ronald Weasley the Doctor.
Rupert Grint?
Really? I don't
I
know
would
names.
love that. I would actually... So the actors that played his brothers in Harry Potter, the twins and then the older brother, any of them would be phenomenal.
Yeah. I don't want to excite you too much because it was just a what if on another conversation with someone who actually has a connection with them.
With who? With who them?
With the Doctor Who studios. I was watching Nerdrotic, and one of the people who he had on the stream has connections to the actual people who run the thing.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just the way that he said it that, like, I hope this isn't like, oh my god, he's just going to tease us, but it's never come to fruition. He actually said, just like this, wouldn't it be nice if Tom Ellis was on it?
Oh my god, yes! That would be amazing!
For anyone who's watching the stream, if anyone who likes Lucifer, it's the guy who plays Lucifer. But I've got a feeling he
so
was
many
just...
more things as well, but he is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that he was just teasing it. But
Probably.
I'll get to the mental health stuff in a little bit. It's just nice to actually talk about it. But there's one thing which I saw not long ago. I'm probably talking about a month or so ago, which made me happy, but made me very scared at the same time if it did happen.
In what way?
So, did you ever see the zombie movie with Brad Pitt that's called World War Z?
I think you ended up watching it and I ended up watching something else because sometimes I get a little freaked out by those.
Yeah, sounds about right. But, yeah.
I sound like such a wimp.
Yeah, you are.
Not that bad.
Yeah. Anyway, point being is that in that movie, they had Peter Capaldi in it, and
now I have to watch it.
Yeah, but he was only in it for like, I don't know, probably 20 minutes of the actual movie near the end.
I just need to watch those scenes.
But not to spoil anything, not to spoil it for anyone who actually has not seen it and who wants to. So Peter Capaldi's character was a doctor, like a scientist doctor, and I think there was something weird with the name of the institute he was, but basically it referenced Doctor Who in the movie, and that was basically the hint that he was going to be the next Doctor at the time.
What?
Yeah.
And you didn't tell me?
Oh, I've told you many times, you've just forgotten. So, anyway, I'm trying to get to the point of what I'm alluding to here. So, I saw this movie not long ago called Jolt with Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, was it good?
It was a lot better than I thought it would be.
I am going to have to watch that now.
And it had the guy who played Nigel in Devil Wears Prada. I can never pronounce his name. That's the guy. Anyway, so for most of the movie, Kate Beckinsale's character had a T-shirt on it. That it was a T-shirt, but most of the word was kind of hid by jacket or whatever she's wearing. Yeah, and it had the word Doctor on it.
Oh my God! Imagine if she were the next Doctor.
And the thing is, in this movie, she had a really nice British accent, and she's really sarcastic and all the rest of it, and it was great. And it was literally like, other than being a freaking psychopath in the movie, she could have been a doctor. I'd have been happy.
Goodness.
As much as I know they're going to bring identity politics and all the rest of the rubbish, and if they did, if they had the right person, especially with Russell T Davies, I think it could work. But the only issue with her being the Doctor, it may never happen because she's so high profile.
I don't know. Her being high profile and then also being the Doctor, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because she'd already be used to all that attention, you know what I mean? So I think she'd be able to handle herself a little bit better than some of the other doctors who weren't necessarily ready for all that hype. But she's a phenomenal actress. I honestly, there are so many actors and actresses that I could see as the Doctor in any carnation of it. But for me, I'm hoping it was just the writing because I know Jodie Whittaker has been great in acting in other things, but it did not hit the mark, in my opinion. I know other people do enjoy it.
So I'm not trying to ignore you, it's just Ghost, my rabbit, he's come out to make sure everything's in order.
The little fluffy boy!
Yeah. Sniffing my feet. It's because I've moved the chair. Anytime I move the furniture around, he's like, oh my God, what the hell are you doing to this place?
Well, he needs things to be orderly and structured.
Yeah. So yeah, my question to you is, out of anyone, male, female, or whatever they want to call themselves these days, who would be your perfect Doctor next, other than Tom Ellis and Kate Beckinsale?
Or David Tennant again?
It can't be someone who's already played it.
I know, but there's prostheses now. That's a really good question. I've had a running list going, and it keeps growing. And I'll share it in the comments another time. But right off the top of my head, honestly, I would take any of the cast members of Harry Potter. So, Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, any of the I can't think of his name in real life, but Draco Malfoy. If Alan Rickman were alive, he would be number frickin' 1. Alan Rickman. That's my answer. Alan Rickman. Because you can't go wrong. That man was, is, and will always be gold.
I would actually like Hugh Laurie.
Oh my goodness, he would be so good. But I feel like he would be a little harsher than the Peter Capaldi version.
We need that.
Say that again?
We need that.
No, I'm not saying we don't need it. I mean, like, did you ever watch him in the show House?
Yeah, but I couldn't take that show because I'm used to Blackadder and I couldn't deal with Hugh Laurie with an American accent.
Right, but like the things and ways he was speaking and saying them outside of the accent, I feel like that's the tone he would have as the Doctor, which would make me sad because I feel like even though the Doctor is serious, that he's also whimsical and funny, which I guess Hugh Laurie can be both, but he's more drawn to that like negative connotation rather than that positive connotation.
No, there's loads that he's done with oh my god, I can't think of his name. Stephen Fry. There's
Stephen Fry would be another good one.
He hasn't got the body type for it anymore. So he's basically pretty much a British comedian to a point, and then he transitioned into acting with Blackadder. But he's like a proper. He can do both, and he's been there, done that, and he'd be fantastic with it. He really would.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is, what I've seen him in mostly is the show House. So that's where I'm getting my information from. So it's like he's a phenomenal actor, but I've only seen him do more negative, toned things. Even though it was like a show about doctors and people helping people, it was still like he had a negative outlook. So that's where in my brain he lives. But I've also seen Blackadder with you, and he's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. The scene in the third one where his Prince Regent comes to mind, where he's trying to do this like voice acting with these sudden old Shakespearean actors who basically tell him to stand legs far apart and to thrust his nether regions into the air. And basically he's like stood there like that, right there in the middle of the floor, and he goes, "Ah, to be, not to be."
Oh my goodness. Just real quick.
Yeah.
Can you see the image on your screen? Because what I'm picking up on my other screen is that you're very pixelated versus mine, which is like clearer.
No, mine looks fine and yours looks fine, but I don't know.
Like when you move, it becomes very pixelated.
Bear with me. I can check on my phone to see what it looks like on YouTube. Bear with me a sec. While I'm doing this, can you just tell me what kind of... Is there any life lessons or anything that Dr. Who's taught you?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, actually so many life lessons. I mean, honestly, like you hear them from your parents and you hear them from outside influences, but it doesn't always stick with you. as like shows might or entertainment might, but like you have to take care of yourself in order to help others. And helping others is a priority, definitely, but there comes a time where you might not be able to help them. Also, to love fierce and love hard, but don't lose yourself in it. Family is important, but it's the family you choose, not necessarily the family you had, that you were born into. And that's honestly more evident than ever in the 11th Doctor, the Matt Smith, with Amy and Rory and River, and no spoilers, I promise. But the New York episode was... Look, I am holding it back right now. I still tear every time I talk about it and every time I watch it. And you watch it more often than I do, and you remind me of it every time you do. And it's like days of like, oh my God.
At least I wasn't playing it every single day that you were here.
No, and I appreciate that. So I love how you and I watch shows over again and over again, but I don't want to ever watch them so many times or episodes so many times that I never want to watch it again. Mm-hmm. I did that with one movie when I was growing up, and to this day I can't watch it.
Okay. So when I think of life lessons, I mean speeches. Like, I can't now, I've done this stream for an hour now, and I just can't remember what I said at the start of it. But I think I mentioned, no I didn't, it was actually when I was rehearsing for this stream for all of 5 seconds. So there was this thing that Rose said, stuck with me a lot.
When she was born wolf?
Yeah, and it was when the Doctor sent her home to fight the Daleks, and she was stuck there eating chips with her mom and my God, I can't remember his name now. The black guy. Mickey, that's it. Sitting down with them, and she basically says that it's a better life with him and all the rest of it. And it's like basically whenever there's chips stacked against you and it goes too far, then you just stand your ground and say no.
Yes. Also reminded me of what's her name? Donna?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Donna? Like, I'm not just pulling that name out of thin air. Donna?
Yeah, you got it.
Like, sorry, you weren't picking up when I was laying down, man.
Just ignore me, I'm just pixelated.
Oh my God. Psh, get out of here. Donna, when she had to take the right instead of the left, or the left instead of the right, I am hugely dyslexic, and this doesn't even help me. But yeah, just following your intuition and, choosing the right path, which could be left, but it could be right. Choosing the correct path. One road may lead one way and the other may lead the other direction, but it doesn't always make it correct. But also, you just reminded me of the squiddy looking people. Oh, what are they called?
The what?
The Zygons.
Oh yeah.
That whole thing about, gathering together and why would we destroy the planet? I am hugely paraphrasing here, but the big speech that was made, I believe it was, I can't remember if it was Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi that ended up doing that.
By the way, that wasn't Russell T Davies, that was Steve Moffat.
That was Steve Moffat, I do know. I'm just saying, like, you was talking about speeches. I wasn't thinking of directors. But
showrunners even. It's okay.
I'm just gonna go cry in a river and die. But no. There are so many good speeches and so many lessons to be learned, and off the top of my head, I can't pick any one in particular outside of the one with Donna and turning one way versus the other and just following your intuition, which I fully believe in entirely. But in every episode, there's always a lesson to be learned, and there's always a little life lesson in there as well. So, you know, you gotta keep your eye out, because there's always something that you're not necessarily thinking about in the moment that's super relatable to what you're going through. Honestly, that's what I found. Like most episodes that I've watched, I have been like, hey, that happened to me not too long ago, or hey, that's actually like a good way to resolve the issue I'm having right now in a roundabout way. So it's that and Star Trek. Both shows are actually really phenomenal when it comes to learning life lessons in a very subtle way. And you might not pick up that it is a lesson, but you're picking up on the meaning behind what they're doing or saying. And it's definitely a great show to get your kids involved into, because it's 1, kid friendly, 2, a little spooky, and 3, there's so many lessons to be learned from it, and it helps you grow as a person.
Okay.
Sorry, I feel like I'm monopolizing this conversation and I'm getting to an annoying point.
No, it's okay. Less work for me.
Oh, very nice. Well, let me have you work a little bit. So, Russell T Davies. When did he start and stop?
He started on the first episode of Christopher Eccleston, and he stopped when David Tennant regenerated into Matt Smith.
My goodness. What a short-lived but long-lived at the same time. Because wasn't David Tennant the Doctor for like, I'm going to totally get this wrong, but I'm going to say 10 years.
Nope. You'll kick yourself.
Ooh, how many years? Go.
5.
5? Wow, it felt like so much longer. Maybe because I've watched it so many times.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those episodes, I mean, honestly, David Tennant is my favorite Doctor, like I've said a million times, and I know Christopher Eccleston was, or possibly still is, your favorite Doctor, closely followed by Matt Smith and David Tennant, in that order for you, I know.
No,
Christopher
Matt Smith was my most favourite.
Say that again?
Matt Smith was my favourite.
Oh, but before you knew Matt Smith existed,
before I knew him, I liked David Tennant more than I did Christopher Eccleston. Mainly because he had a lot more screen time.
Eccleston?
Tennant, top, Eccleston following.
Okay. So for me, I just flip-flopped the second and third, because Christopher Eccleston to me is very much the Doctor and embodies the Doctor, but he is a little too alien at times for me. Like, he played the role very well, but it was a little too withdrawn for me from humanity in like the weirdest way. Like, I know it sounds weird because he is an alien and he is portraying as a human, but at the same time, he's disconnected, I guess, would be the best way to say that.
Eccleston, purely, as far as I know, just did that to restart the franchise. He went into it knowing that he'd only do the one series. So...
And that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, he was still a great actor and it was still a freaking great series, but at the same time, he didn't invest as much into it as maybe Matt Smith David Tennant and all the rest of it.
Yeah. I mean, he also didn't want to get to that point. From what I've heard in articles, read in articles, and heard in interviews and stuff, he didn't want to be the Doctor for forever, and he didn't want that huge everything that follows it. He wanted to be able to do more things and didn't think he could if he did get to that status.
Yeah.
But those episodes, you know?
Yeah.
It's
So getting to, again, mental well-being stuff, one of the things that you keep hearing, again, it's a cliche, but it's always, what's that saying? Do one thing every day that scares you. So, because it's good for your blood circulation and and everything else. So my question is, out of the Russell T Davies era, what episode or episodes scared you the most? I've got mine.
Why don't you go with yours while I think on that?
I'm nervous too because I think that yours might be the same. Oh, there's two.
Honestly, I mean, you know my memory, and it's really hard for me to recall certain specific facts on cue, on demand, but any of the episodes with the Weeping Angels, specifically Blink and You're Dead, I literally did not sleep for a month, like in a regular sleep cycle. The Weeping Angels themselves, nope. That whole,
Okay.
like, you know, when David Tennant was on the TV screen, that series of events that followed.
The Weeping Angels included in that episode, believe it or not, didn't scare me in the slightest.
Which one did?
But there's something I do have to say about the Weeping Angels. I can't remember where it is now. I'm going to have to look for the link on it, and I'll put it in the description of the video I'm going to edit. It's on YouTube, and I think you just need to put in, I don't know, Weeping Angels Alleyway or something like that. And it's basically the camera is the first person, so basically the camera is seeing what you're seeing. Yeah? Do you understand that?
I do. I'm getting nervous.
Yeah. So it's middle of the night, dark alley, brick walls all around you, and it's a really narrow alley, and it's a maze. So you just go through these, like a corridor of bricks at night, with a little bit of light coming through, and you're just walking down. You go left, right, left, center, further, back on it, and all the rest of it. And then suddenly you turn a corner and there's a Weeping Angel. And then you walk away from it, you go back around the corner, look back around to see if it's following you, and it's closer. And then you start walking the other way.
You are joking.
No, and I will send you the link.
No, do not send me the link. No.
I wish I did a screen recording so I could actually play it on here. Yeah, so it goes on for like 10 minutes where it's trying to run away from them because he's in a maze, he can't escape from them, and then they end up getting him.
No.
He just finishes with the angels just looking over you.
No.
That being said, funny story. So I can't remember whether I shown you. I know I put it on Facebook, I think, but I was actually at the Doctor Who Experience in Cardiff, where they actually done a Weeping Angel. They actually got a forklift. It was a real person, and they got a forklift and put it right in the middle of the room. Went away without a word. There's no presentation or anything. They just left this Weeping Angel, which everyone thought was a statue. So there's this kid.
Oh my god, I remember this.
Yeah. So there's a kid that went up to it and It was like the weeping angel was like this. The kid was like right in front of it, like wanting a picture with, like the parents were taking a picture of him, and then it just grabbed him like this, and everyone jumped. I think someone actually, other than a kid, I think someone actually screamed in the background.
Did you happen to see that child's soul leave his body?
I was more like, I think it was Richard that was with me, or Neil, I can't remember. It was Richard. And I think I remember saying, yeah, I want a picture with it now.
Oh my god.
But yeah, getting back to the whole scaring thing with episodes. So there's a top one and there's a slightly close runner-up. The runner-up is the empty child, which is the kid with the gas mask. Christopher Eccleston era, World War II, and everyone that the kid touched had a gas mask on.
Yep.
Yeah, that was creepy as hell.
Are you my mommy?
Yeah, that's the fella. The other one, the one that really, really like turned me different shades of pale, was Midnight. And I think that's going to be most people, Doctor Who fans, like scariest moment with David Tennant.
Think that I blacked out for that because it's not in my memory banks that you said it, and my brain literally was like, nope.
Yeah, the woman who repeated everything everyone said.
Oh my god, stop. No. Nope.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Because it was a psychological thing, and I was just like, because it was also, there was no doctor's assistance, it was just a doctor, and they was about to find out the air escape and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was one of those, it wasn't sci-fi or anything, it was just psychological suspense, and it freaked me the hell out when I first saw it.
I mean, there's so many good scare moments and good like okay, I know it's not part of it, but if I remember, no, they definitely didn't start it with Tennant, I don't think. But The Silence.
That was Matt Smith, and that's Moffat.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The Silence, though. That.
Okay.
The spider lady, that weird spider lady.
Oh god, I just had the name on the tip of my tongue. The Arachnid people.
Yeah, goosebumps already. I don't like it.
Yeah, I know, because you already hate spiders.
I know, but like something about it was also just like primally like, ugh, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so with Doctor Who being escapism and all that, is there any episodes where, again, just keep it to Eccleston and Tennant? Any that you just rewatch?
Literally finish all of the David Tennant ones. The Christopher Eccleston one where he gifts his breath.
Oh yeah.
I watch that all the time. Any of the ones with Rose Tyler in it, honestly. Just because I really like that character.
Is that Christopher Eccleston one that you just mentioned, because I keep gifting you from the air from my body all the time?
Yes, but not the air that he gifts. Yours is a little south of the border there.
Yeah.
So nice of you, though. So nice. I appreciate every little gift you give me.
What's your favorite season finale?
Oh God, favorite and least favorite all in one. You already know what it is.
End of time?
I'm burning up a sun just to say goodbye.
Yeah, it was either going to be that or Doomsday.
I mean, both of them are triggering beyond belief, and they're so good. You can't really choose between the two, but I gravitate towards the David Tennant one more so because David Tennant is more relatable as a human, and that whole storyline is just like, oh my god, like goosebumps here. Like, I can't even. It's like wholesome and good and terrifying and horrible all at the same time.
You know, I never told you this, but there's a trick I was going to play on you while you were sleeping.
I'm so thankful you didn't play it, but what is it?
I was going to change both of our phone screens, so when you put them together, it'll be David Tennant and Rose Tyler on Doomsday, and they can't get to each other. Like that.
Honestly, we should do that, because yes, it's definitely what's happening, but like at the same time, it's like, wait, what? You're like, let me do it now. Wait, have you seen on the Apple phones, and I don't know if it does it on the Samsung phones either, but when you do have those two screens and you put them together, it like actually like makes the motion of like the hand going on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or I'm just like creating that in my brain, which is very possible. It's fantastical up there. If you could have any two of the villain aliens. Sorry, I never know which way to move my hands on this. I talk with my hands too much. It's a problem. Anyway, if you could have any two of the villains, the alien villains from the series, combined to make a new species, what would it be, and what would they be called? Like, what new terrifying horror would you create?
Did I just freeze there, or I just went onto a different screen? I'm sorry.
You might have, but your brain also did if you didn't hear me.
Okay. What I think I heard you say was two aliens that you put into one. What do you call them?
I asked, what two villainous aliens would you put together? Why? And what new species would you have created? What would you call it? Ooh, while you're thinking about that, you remember the episode with David Tennant? It might not have been an episode. It might have been the 50th reunion. I don't remember. But when he's with one of the iterations of Queen Elizabeth, I want to say, or one of the queens.
Say that one more time. I was trying to think of an answer for you for the other question.
Sorry, I think it was maybe Girl in the Fireplace, but it was also the David Tennant episode where he is like supposedly like having been with the Queen, and maybe I'm thinking of the 50th anniversary, and I don't remember correctly.
And David Tennant was with the woman from Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the 50th anniversary.
Okay, see, that's why I asked. But yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. But I also really enjoy the Girl in the Fireplace because it's like going from one era to another era without knowing it at first, and you're just thinking he's going into the TARDIS, but then it's an alien spaceship, and you're like, oh my god, and it's in a fireplace, and there's a horse? What? I forget the horse's name, but it's probably Steve. Anyway, back to my question. Do you have an answer?
I have about 12% of an answer. But now that I think now that I think of the answer, it's absolute rubbish. But there's a reason why I thought of it. So it would be the Cybermen / Sycorax.
Describe the Sycorax again.
The Sycorax is the one that chopped David Tennant's hand off Christmas Day.
Oh, Mother Hubbards.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would call the sick men.
Because they're so sick, man.
And the leader of the sick men would be called John.
I get why. But I don't see the Cybermen procreating.
The reason is for no other reason than when the cigarettes come up to David Tennant and says, I demand to know who you are. And then he says, I don't know. And all I can think of is The Lion King, freaking any tune from Lion King. The Circle of Life tune, right?
Yeah.
And when he says, I demand to know who you are, just a Cyberman saying that, for some reason, that is literally the first thing that come into my head when you ask that question, and I can't think of any of the alien villains ever now.
Yeah, I would take... I gotta have a better answer for my own question, my goodness.
Yeah.
I would maybe take the Daleks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cross them with... I can see the image of what they are in my brain. Why can't I think of the name?
Describe them.
All words have left my body. What is going on?
Because there's so much that you just can't think.
I mean, there really is.
Is it Russell T Davies there?
The mannequins.
Autons.
Yeah. Mix those two.
Daleks and Autons.
Yeah.
And what do you call them?
Spark plugs.
Okay.
Imagine them basically the mannequin form with the whisk and the bumps.
Nice.
There are other things too. I just can't think of them.
It's okay.
But like, that's what I'm imagining in my head. And I wish I could get the full image out there, but yeah. It's kind of like, you know, the thought of like from Austin Powers, like laser sharks.
Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, yeah.
I'm so sorry. What did you just say?
Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, that's what I get from that.
Oh, I said Austin Powers, you know, like laser sharks?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. That's the line of thought that my brain is going in with that one.
Yeah, now that you just asked me the two villains that you'd cross, I just forget everything that's ever happened in Doctor Who.
Like, seriously, though, like, it's such a brilliant question. I wonder if anyone else watching has a preferred combination of baddies, or even a preferred doctor, like, actor to play the Doctor. Yeah. That would be insanely awesome to see Kate Beckinsale, Tom Ellis, but then there's so many names that are out there that aren't big names that could definitely go in. Honestly, it's a big name, but she, so the one that played all the characters in Orphan Black, she would be insanely amazing. Then the girl from Black Mirror, the one with the curly hair that has like that really like raspy New York accent, which she can pull off other accents, but that's the best known in my opinion for her.
Was she the mother from How I Met Your Mother?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You watched that a little bit more than I did.
fine.
And then there's also, oh my God, what is their name? I don't know.
Okay. All right then. So, favorite companion from Davies' era?
River.
Oh crap, she was in that era as well.
Also
Okay.
the Pawns, obviously.
Favorite TARDIS companion?
Rose.
And when I say that, I mean, okay, favorite main companion. When I say that, because River was a secondary character in that double episode. What I mean by that, because you've also got the specials like Kylie Minogue and all that as well. So include them.
All right, B. So like obviously Rose Tyler. Honestly, I love Rose Tyler. I love Donna. Martha didn't hit the mark for me. And then their side companions, so they're like love interests. Nope, like just could have done without them, didn't need them. But also, was it Donna's dad or granddad?
It was the granddad who was in the show. The dad died.
Yes. Him.
Wilf.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, going back to the life lessons, that character alone, so many, like literal chills. And oh my God, okay, let's backtrack all the frickin' way back here. The Master from the David Tennant series.
John Sim.
Oh my God. How do you not love that actor in that role?
Yeah, he could have been a doctor.
He could have been a doctor. They could have brought him back as the Master. However, I would not want his good name sullied by the freaking writing that was in that show. Excuse me. I'm not sick. I just swallowed a whole bunch of air.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that sorry, getting really late now. I'm actually going to finish the stream soon. It's one of the things that he done well because it made you like the bad guys.
I mean, honestly though, like, if you look at it, and I'm trying not to spoil anything, but you kind of understand where he's coming from in the end.
If you haven't seen every episode of the freaking Russell T Davies era by now, then you deserve to have it spoiled. In fact,
no.
For everyone who's watching, spoiler warning. There you go.
No, stop. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Ew, I've just issued the warning.
No. No.
In case she changed her mind, everyone, spoiler warning.
Let's put it this way. If you ever have kids that haven't seen it, I'm not talking specifically you and me, I'm talking like anyone who's watching this. I don't want to ruin the magic for them of it, but that incarnation of the Master, you understand more in real life where bullies might come from and how they're created and why and how to maybe interact differently to aid them in realizing their own issues aren't from you or from you're not the person that they should be taking things out on because you're not the person who created the issue. And that's as far as I'm going to go into that, but you dislike him. You get that stupid in your head, and it literally hasn't left my head since the series. And how long ago was that? Don't answer that. We're not dating ourselves here, okay? But since that aired, it has been in the back of my head since that happened.
I just figured out how many years it's been.
Don't. Too many. That's the answer. Anyway, you, mister, you're horrible. But yeah, honestly, you every ounce of the Master Doctor, I'll say series of it, absolute sheer brilliance, masterfully played, masterfully portrayed, and on top of that, if you don't end up crying or feeling just like all the emotions by the end of it, maybe you should reevaluate. Maybe you are a Cyberman. Who knows? They could be real. We live in a world where it's a little overrun by technology. Rant over.
See, I got a bit more teary-eyed when Missy died. Ooh,
Oh my
spoilers.
god. Oh my god, you're horrible. But yes, also that. Also, Michelle Gomez, phenomenal actress.
Met her too.
I dislike you so much right now. You know, I still haven't been to a freaking Comic-Con because I was waiting to go with you, and then it never happened when we were in the same space.
Yeah, what really added to it was the fact that she's one of these people who it's a conveyor belt when you try to get the picture done with them, but she's one of these people who tries to actually talk to you.
That's awesome. That is really awesome.
Sorry,
Separately,
Ghost is getting on the bed.
That's okay. Separately, Michelle Gomez as an actress, have you seen Flight Attendant yet?
No, but there's another thing that I loved her in, which she was really freaking creepy in.
I'm so excited. What is it? It's getting to spooky season.
Green Wing.
Say that again. Slower. Clear?
It's a green wing, like wings on a bird, coloured green. Green Wing.
Green Wing.
Yeah. She basically plays someone who, and I'm not going to actually spoil it for you, but I'll tell you the kind of character that she was. She basically, she's stalkery, and she was following like one of the doctors who sits in a hospital. She's following one of the doctors who she fancied like hell, and basically she was weird about it. And so I'm talking scary weird. It was a comedy.
You
it was
want to meet
actually
you in a dark alley kind of weird?
like, how the freaking hell did you get this number?
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
There is one scene which I don't mind telling you about. Is
Telling me or telling the audience?
Oh no. For anyone. Oh, by the way, spoilers. Spoiler warning. So, the Doctor who she has the hots for, he has an accident, like car crash or something. It was so. I'm talking 10 years ago, and so the Doctor has Doctor Who was in anyway. You know what I mean. Has an accident and ends up unconscious on one of the beds, and she goes downtown whilst unconscious to take some of his juice to create a miniature him.
Holy psycho!
She gets caught by the person who's actually his girlfriend, but yeah, that's
Why
the kind
does
of.
it sound so familiar? Maybe I've seen it and didn't know I saw it.
Oh no, I don't think you have. Yeah, and Sabrina.
I know. Oh my god. She's so good in it. So good.
So Ghost has decided he's being adventurous now on the wooden floor, and I'm just watching him. Yeah.
Dude, honestly though, the quality of actors that have been on and in Doctor Who are phenomenal. And for every single series that's been on, for every director that has been on, there's always something good to say about them. Regardless of the newest Doctor series,
Yep.
in my opinion, not being great, there have been some good points put across. However, I feel like it was the wrong platform or wrong way of going about it.
It's more of the fact that those points are being shoved in your face whether you liked it or not.
Yeah, but I feel like in past years they have added things
Keep
such
going, but hold on.
They have added things such as like the topics that they're covering. Just they did it in a more tactful way, so it wasn't like this is the issue, this is the thing we need to solve, and this is how you do it.
Yeah.
It was more like, hey, sup, nice to meet you. You got an issue with me? Okay, we'll take care of it. Don't worry, we'll smooth it over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna end things here.
All right. Well, it was nice talking to you about the Hooster for so long, and I'm sure you and I will speak about it again. But for everyone else out there, I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do some more talking about how other shows do help mental health. And yeah, I'm just excited because there are so many things out there that do help mental health, and I am going on, aren't I?
No, you're not. One thing I would encourage you, and actually anyone who watches this to watch, is a movie called Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds. Now, if you're having a bad time, whatever you're going through, if you just want something to just sit back that's recent and you just want to enjoy it and just forget the whole world exists for a couple of hours, Free Guy is the one to watch. I'm talking like really that good.
So good. And I think, is the runtime like 2 hours?
I have no idea. It could be 5 hours and I'd still love it.
I was gonna say, even if it is 2 hours, it feels like a second, and you just don't want to stop watching. I actually, like, first 5 minutes into it, I was like, I really should go pee. Nope, didn't budge. Not healthy, but still, at the same time, good movie.
It's the kind of movie where you feel that you want them to make sequels out of it, but they shouldn't.
Yes, 100% yes.
Anyway, that being said, I'm not going to kick you off the stream. I'll keep you on until I stop talking. Now I'm just going to. I'm too tired to say words right now.
Then shall I say your lovely catchphrase?
No, I'm going to say that at the end. So yeah. There's going to be an edited version of this coming out maybe in the next day or so. however long it takes them to do it. And if you do want any other content on mental health, well-being, and how to improve it, then I would ask you to consider to subscribe, and please click like on this video if you got anything out of it, so that it will help the channel out and it will reach more people to help them. I know this was more of a casual chat today, but I think it's nice to just have an escapism chat. Okay. But yeah, in my edited videos I'm a little bit more coherent than this, so check them out and I hope you get some value out of it, because it's like I always say, other than Alonzi and Geronimo and all that good stuff, at the end of the day, what happens, Courtney?
It gets dark.
Anyway, yeah, like she said,